You are listening to the William Gomes Podcast. I am William Gomes and I am grateful to have you here. Today I want to take you on a gentle journey into the past. Autism is often spoken about as though it has only recently been recognized. But the truth is more complex. Our understanding of autism has traveled a long road shaped by changing ideas, scientific discoveries, and importantly, the voices of autistic people themselves. This episode is about how those ideas developed, how they shifted, and how they brought us to where we are today. When autism first appeared in medical literature, it was described through a narrow lens. Early clinicians focused mainly on the behaviors they could observe. They wrote about children who struggled with social interaction, who used language differently, or who preferred sameness and routine. But these descriptions were filtered through the assumptions of the time. They were influenced by ideas about childhood, communication, and development that were limited and sometimes inaccurate. As a result, the early understanding of autism was far from complete. Back then, autism was seen as something rare and severe. Many children who would now be recognized as autistic were simply overlooked. Girls were often missed entirely. Children who communicated differently, who masked their discomfort, or who coped quietly, were not considered autistic at all. And because the early focus was mainly behavioral, deeper differences in sensory processing, cognition, and emotional experience were not understood or appreciated. As time passed, researchers began to see that these early descriptions did not capture the full picture. Autism was far more diverse than they had imagined. It appeared in children with different strengths, different communication styles, and different kinds of support needs. Autistic adults too began sharing their experiences, challenging the narrow assumptions that had shaped diagnostic ideas. Slowly, the understanding of autism grew more nuanced. A significant shift came when science moved beyond behavior and into the study of cognition. Researchers started exploring how autistic people process information, interpret emotions, and understand social situations. This opened up new ways of thinking about autism. It became clear that the differences ran deeper than what could be observed. They were connected to developmental pathways, sensory systems, attention patterns, and the ways in which meaning is built from experience. Another shift happened as society began listening more carefully to autistic people themselves. Their insights brought depth and honesty to the conversation. Autistic voices helped explain the emotional labor of masking, the impact of sensory overload, the pain of being misunderstood, and the importance of acceptance. These perspectives challenged the idea that autism was only a set of deficits. Instead, autism began to be understood as a different way of experiencing the world, with its own strengths, needs, and forms of expression. Over the years, the language around autism has also changed. Early discussions used terms that pathologized or diminished autistic experience. Today, the conversation is shifting toward dignity, respect, and identity. Many autistic people prefer identity-first language. They want their autism to be recognized as an integral part of who they are, not something separate or unfortunate. This shift in language reflects a wider movement toward recognizing the value of neurodiversity. It reminds us that difference is not deficiency. We also now understand that autism is not a single pathway or a single presentation. It is a spectrum in the truest sense, not a line from mild to severe, not a simple checklist, but a complex and beautiful variation in human development. This understanding has helped professionals move away from rigid stereotypes and toward more personalized, compassionate support. Of course, the journey is not over. Misunderstandings still exist. Some outdated ideas continue to influence how autistic people are treated in schools, healthcare, and society, but the conversation is moving forward. Modern research combined with lived experience is helping us see autism with clarity and empathy. It is reminding us that autistic people are not puzzles to be solved, but individuals with rich inner worlds and meaningful contributions to make. Understanding the history of autism is important because it helps us recognize how far we have come and how far we still need to go. It teaches us to hold our knowledge lightly, to stay open, and to keep listening. It reminds us that when we rethink our assumptions, we create more space for compassion. and it encourages us to embrace a fuller, more humane understanding of autism that reflects the realities of autistic lives. Thank you for listening. This is the William Gomes Podcast. Take care of yourself, stay curious, and I will speak with you again soon.